Douluo Dalu Volume 2, Chapter 8, Spirit Tool, 24 Moonlit Bridges. Part 1. Teacher, the longer the cultivation time, the more powerful the spirit beast's strength, and the greater the effect of the spirit ring. In what respects does this formidability show? Tang San asked. On Grandmaster's stiff face appeared a touch of his signature unsightly smiling expression. This line of questioning is very good. The spirit rings produced by spirit beasts of different level main difference to spirit master is what attribute it adds as well as the capacity to master its ability. For example, if using the quantitative angle of view, with your blue-silver grass spirit with the control system tool spirit master root, and you obtain a compatible attribute 10-year spirit ring, then your blue-silver grass control nature can increase by 10. But if it was a 100-year spirit ring, then your blue-silver grass control nature would increase by 100. And so on. Consequently, whenever possible, spirit masters as much as possible pursue enhancing their spirit even more. Tang San uncertainly said, wouldn't then people possessing greater power be able to obtain a better spirit ring? Those nobles can completely rely on their clan's strength to go hunt even more powerful spirit rings for them. In Grandmaster's eyes fleetingly a commending light was revealed. To think of this proves you have carefully reflected, but the facts are not that simple. One might say, the requirements for adding a spirit ring are extremely severe. First of all, one must personally strike the killing blow to the spirit beast to be able to receive the spirit beast's spirit ring. Spirit rings can only exist for an extremely brief time. If not added to oneself within 2 hours, it will lose effect. Next, spirit beasts are a kind of extremely proud creatures. Not just any spirit beasts will let themselves be taken prisoner. If an opponent inflicts a severe injury, wanting to capture them, then the spirit beast can choose to explode their spirit power and commit suicide. This hinders the circumstances you spoke of. Even if inviting people to hunt and kill spirit beasts, if not killed by him, then it is still very difficult to obtain a spirit ring. Of course, all this is not absolute. How can humanity's wisdom be compared to spirit beasts? The best method to hunt and kill spirit beasts is precisely to organize groups to go to spirit beast's location. The one who strikes the last blow then can obtain the spirit ring. Therefore, what you said about nobles and some people possessing power on hunting and killing spirit beasts side indeed have a certain advantage. But these kinds of people easily obtaining spirit rings does not mean that he will become more powerful compared to an ordinary spirit master. They also cannot confirm whether the attribute of the spirit beast they come across is the most suitable to them. The spirit beast's level is admittedly important, but whether the attribute is compatible is also equally crucial. Even better spirit rings, unless your spirit itself is compatible, it will also be unable to evolve good effects, and on the contrary will affect oneself. Every spirit master on different stages has restrictions on the spirit rings they can absorb. To take an example, you right now are only a 10th rank spirit scholar, and with your current spirit power, at most you can absorb a 100-year spirit beast spirit ring. If you try in vain to absorb a 1000-year spirit ring, this can only have one result. The body is unable to endure, and is destroyed by the spirit ring's power. When absorbing the spirit ring, any outside force is unable to help, and you can only rely on yourself. Consider, these people requiring others to help hunt and kill their spirit beast, how capable is their own actual strength, perhaps absorbing a suitable to them while the grade of the spirit ring is still within control limits will bring about a destructive strike. Tang San, you must remember, this world is impartial. When wanting to obtain something, certainly one must put forth the corresponding effort. Being opportunistic is what a mediocre person does. We who study spirit theory do so only for the sake of making this effort a bit easier for spirit masters. Under circumstances when possessing equal strength to become still more formidable. Do you understand? Tang San earnestly nodded. In the first place, he was not a person in the habit of being opportunistic, relying on his own strength with one step making one footprint in the direction of objective. This effort was the most solid. Grandmaster was not in any hurry to bring Tang San to leave the city walls. Instead, he was going in the direction of the inner city walls. Teacher, Aren't we going outside the city walls? Grandmaster said. For going to hunt spirit beasts we must still prepare some things, and also, we cannot go on foot. A 400 li journey, while not too long, but making the best of time is always best. Following the sunlight gradually rising from the east, within Nuoding city more pedestrians gradually appeared. Today was one of a not large number of days where Tang San did not draw on the eastern purple key to cultivate purple demon eye. What Grandmaster spoke of as getting ready certainly was not complicated. He bought 2 leather bags specially used for holding drinking water. Each bag was capable of holding as much as 5 liters of fresh water. He also bought some cured meat, flatbread and fruit. All in all getting 2 large bundles. If speaking of these Tang San could still comprehend, but Grandmaster still bought a kind of thing that he was unable to understand, and these things were also bought in greatest quantity. A whole 20 jin of white radish. Tang San's current assignment was to carry them. A 20 jin weight from his point of view, still did not count for anything. Of course, if it was a 400 li journey on foot, then it was an issue. Fortunately, after Grandmaster procured all these things already, immediately at the inner city wall he hired a carriage, giving the carter 5 silver spirit coins. Douluo continent's currency exchange was like this. 1 gold spirit coin was equivalent to 10 silver spirit coins, equivalent to 100 copper spirit coins. 1 gold spirit coin was already enough for a family of 3's regular expenses for several months. It was also equivalent to 3 years' worth of Tang San's income from Nuoding Academy work. Spirit Master was said to be this continent's most privileged vocation, and income was a significant reason. Even if one only advanced from Spirit Scholar to Spirit Master, every month they could still enjoy a 1 gold spirit coin stipend. This was sufficient for an ordinary person to live. Of course, only basic life, desiring luxuries, was impossible. And as a Spirit Master cultivated and reached even higher levels, in particular exceeding Spirit Grandmaster and entering the Spirit Elder realm, provided they registered at Spirit Hall, could be conferred the rank of nobility directly by the nation, becoming a lesser noble baron. The higher the actual strength, the higher the noble title. Regarding income, naturally the boat also rose with the water. Part 2. For Tang San this was the first time traveling on a carriage, and even though somewhat bumpy, the new sensation still made him abundantly interested, frequently pushing aside the window curtain to look outside. Seeing a stream of people bustling with activity, as well as various sorts of shops, regarding the outside world, in his heart he couldn't help but somewhat yearn for it. In this life, his fate would not be as simple as in his previous. Not knowing in what way he later would enter society. Little San, this is for you. Grandmaster's cool voice suddenly roused Tang San from his train of thought. Just as he gazed at Grandmaster, he discovered something unknown. Grandmaster's already held a belt in his hand. A belt with a very beautiful appearance. The whole belt was black, and on the surface were dark stripes, that unless carefully looked for could not be distinguished, and on the entire belt, evenly distributed, were set 24 pieces of milky white jade. Each piece of jade was the size of an adult person's thumbnail, and round. With gentle color and luster, looking like rare fine jade. Thank you, teacher. Tang San did not stand on ceremony, holding out his hand to receive it. What is called senior's gift must not be refused. When he before was at Tang Sect, Tang Inner Sect elders receiving disciples would all later give a gift. Grandmaster giving him this belt should also have a similar meaning. Grandmaster said, "This belt has been with me for very many years, also been neglected for very many years. I hope in the future it can blossom into its proper glory in your hands." Regarding the belt, from the start Tang San felt it was not ordinary, as if the belt had numerous faint streams of qi circulating, and these streams of qi were with this belt itself acting as a bridge, with the jade serving as stores. 30 years ago, when I obtained it, I did not know what it was called. But through my many years of research I came to see it could be considered a first-class spirit tool, functioning as storage. You only need to infuse it with spirit power, and each piece of jade is capable of providing 1 cubic meter of storage space. like that you can conveniently deposit goods. Spirit tools, to Tang San, was a brand new term. Although he still did not know exactly what the meaning of spirit tool was, Grandmaster's explanation already gave his mind deep astonishment. 24 jade stones, that also precisely had 24 cubic meters of storage space. To him, that was a place for depositing 24 kinds of hidden weapons. The expression in Tang San's eyes became blazing, and within his heart the thirst to promote mysterious heaven's skill reached an extreme degree. He was dying to right now possess enough inner strength to go cultivate all kinds of hidden weapons uses. Having this belt, he need not again worry about hidden weapons storage issues. As Tang San had not asked, Grandmaster already went ahead and explained, spirit tools, as the name implies, are implements that rely on spirit power to be used. Very few spirit tools are passed down from ancient times, for the most part without offensive function. Spirit masters themselves do not need weapons. Spirit tools can all be described as historical relics. As to how they came about, and how they were made, was lost long ago. This belt was obtained by me and several friends one time on an adventure. It was assigned to me as a reward. To me, its function is nothing too great. Later you should be able to find it useful. Right, give it a name. Looking at those 24 pieces of gentle jade, Tang San practically without hesitation thought of a famous verse from his last life, 24 moonlit bridges. Right, I'll call it 24 moonlit bridges. Grandmaster was slightly dazed, his rigid face without expression, nodding said, a very good sounding name, if a bit long-winded. Tang San secretly sighed. Perhaps this could be considered a recalling his last life a bit. Grandmaster said, its function is very simple. Infuse your spirit power within those jade stones, then you can sense its existing space. If you can react fast enough, things within it will appear as if out of thin air. But to control its specific property well, you still must practice much more. This is also your future homework. Tang San did not need Grandmaster's words to understand the importance of training with taking things from 24 moonlit bridges, and hurriedly nodded in reply. Originally Tang San had still been uncertain. Grandmaster had bought this many things. After entering Spirit Hunting Forest, how could they be taken when hunting spirit beasts? Right now with 24 moonlit bridges these all were no longer an issue. Idle throughout the journey, he started under Grandmaster's direction to practice his control of accessing goods with 24 moonlit bridges. And the goods used for practice were those white radishes. A 400-li journey, whether long or not, it was not considered short. Not until noon the second day did they arrive at their destination, Spirit Hunting Forest. Just when Tang San stepped down from the carriage, he discovered Spirit Hunting Forest was completely unlike his imagination. Forests, in Tang San's impression, ought to be filled with big natural smell, trees secluded and tranquil, air fresh, no sign of human habitation. But this Spirit Hunting Forest before him, at least at the forest's edge, felt like it was a Nuoding market. At the forest's edge, large houses were constructed, or rather shops. The sound of every kind of ware being cried out, a strip of man-made paved simple path freely among them, in the surrounding racket Tang San could not help but frown. Have warrant, recruiting to hunt strength-type spirit beasts, still short 2 people. Hunting agility-type spirit beasts, warrant for 7 people. 10 gold spirit coins. Similar hawking cries rose one after another. The forest of shops for the most part were peddling weapons, defensive tools and all kinds of food supplies. Grandmaster brought Tang San to enter this place considered as a small-town market. Do you know why I finished buying all the things at Nuoding City? Tang San shook his head. Grandmaster pointed to the prices marked in the stores. Because arriving here, prices will all at least double. Are you not wondering how a forest's edge can be this bustling? It's actually very simple. Where there are spirit beasts, there is profit. Particularly these special national spirit beast capturing forests are even more that way. Spirit masters are a wealthy group, and there are too many people wanting to make a profit off spirit masters. Grandmaster, what do those people shouting about recruiting groups mean? Part 3. Grandmaster said, "Spirit beasts are not so easily killed. Rather inherently formidable spirit beasts, even if not cultivating more than a few years, still has very powerful firepower. This kind of what is called grouping up for hunting spirit beasts is just multiple people mutually cooperating, hunting their respectively required spirit beast, and obtaining the spirit ring. Having the aid of other people, they can deal the required last attack on the spirit beast themselves. On the continent it is the most common and safest method of hunting spirit beasts. Only, is grouping up that easy?" Speaking of this, Grandmaster looked at these crying out spirit masters, his eyes exuding a trace of disdain. A genuinely outstanding spirit hunting group will be composed of at least 5 parts. Food system tool spirit masters will be responsible for supplies, healing system tool spirit masters responsible for condition and spirit power restoration. Agility system battle spirit masters responsible for scouting, strength system battle spirit masters responsible for blocking, attack system battle spirit masters responsible for annihilating the enemy. With these 5 parts composing the group, it can be regarded as a complete group. But also the coordination between each also can't take shape in a day or 2. Alone it imperceptibly influences the process, and it requires at least several years to become coordinated. Even more importance must be attached to group's members. They must have mutual trust. Absolute trust. Otherwise, when encountering danger, they are very easily defeated in a moment. Tang San astonished asked, "Why will they be defeated?" "Because of insufficient strength." Grandmaster shook his head, coldly saying, "In the future, perhaps you also will chance to join a group in this way. When choosing a group, you can't even consider other members' actual strength, but the one thing you must keep in mind, in the group which you choose, that you can present your back before any other person." Tang San still did not very well understand Grandmaster's meaning, but Grandmaster also did not for a long time explain again, bringing him towards the depths of the market. Although the marketplace was a disturbing chaos, just as they moved away from the market, when they saw this huge forest, Tang San still could not help but be somewhat shocked. Trees tall and large showing their age, at the forest periphery, encircled by an immense steel fence, facing the forest, appeared a great number of piercing tips. The fence's height exceeded 10 meters, looking extremely robust. This still was not counting, outside the fence, a line of 100 soldiers patrolling there. These troops wore meticulous suits of full body armor, hands grasping long spears, disciplined in neat formation, 100 steel warriors standing together, giving people a kind of deadly feeling. Grandmaster said in a low voice, "Not anyone can enter spirit hunting forest for capturing. Only spirit masters who have obtained a warrant issued by Spirit Hall can enter spirit hunting forest to hunt spirit beasts. Although there are also those who have secretly entered, those people find it very difficult to have a good ending. These soldiers are only guarding the periphery. In spirit hunting forest, there still are Spirit Hall enforcer groups, at all times inspecting warrants. Those people don't pay attention to sentiments." Tang San said, "Teacher, in the end is this spirit hunting forest considered Spirit Halls or the country's?" Grandmaster's expression turned cold, gesturing Tang San to keep silent. "Outside you must not again ask similar questions. Concerning the relationship between Spirit Hall and the nation, I will tell you again later. Obtaining a warrant is certainly not difficult. The first requirement is Spirit Hall's approval, determining that you have indeed reached peak stage power, requiring a spirit ring to advance. Next requirement is having the guarantee of at least 3 nobles." While speaking, in Grandmaster's hand already appeared a token tile. The dark token tile was made from some unknown material. On the surface a pattern was formed by 3 kinds of figures fitted together. In the middle was a sharp sword pointing down. To the left and right of the sword, separately, were a hammer and the head of a monster Tang San had never seen before. Grandmaster saw Tang San's eyes full of curiosity, and put the sign in his hand. "Remember this symbol, this is Spirit Hall's characteristic mark. Within Spirit Hall, there are 6 kinds of signs. Distinguishing each kind of token tile is very simple, just look on the figures. On the lowest grade token tiles are only a sword, it symbolizes Spirit Hall's Holy Hall Chief Consul's spirit, and higher grade token tiles have on the side of the long sword a hammer, symbolizing a Spirit Hall formidable elder. Tang San's inference ability still was not bad. Teacher, these two people in Spirit Hall position should be extremely significant, right? But, before I heard, beast spirits are more formidable compared to tool spirits. These two spirit master figures should both be tool spirits, right? Grandmaster tousled Tang San's head, with a cool smile said, people saying beast spirits compared to tool spirits are more formidable, concerning spirit understanding are obviously insufficient. Any spirit's strength hinges on two things. One is how much spirit power is added at the awakening, the other is just acquired with the process of cultivation method. Perhaps, before 30th rank, beast spirits because they can add to themselves are yet compared to tool spirit masters a bit more formidable. But after arriving at higher ranks, between the two there certainly is no difference. Strong or not only depends on a person's cultivation. My warrant is Spirit Hall's 3rd grade warrant. With it, one essentially may enter the majority of Heaven Do Nation's spirit hunting forests. The examining standard are these spirit hunting forests never appearing beast. And also unlike the previous 2 token tiles, it doesn't have to be returned to Spirit Hall after completing the spirit beast hunt. Mine can be held for a lifetime. On this token tile appears a blue lightning tyrant dragon. Among beast spirits, it's considered a top-level existence. Although its owner is not part of Spirit Hall, the representative clan receives in no small measure Spirit Hall's respect. For some reason, when Grandmaster spoke of the blue lightning tyrant dragon, in his eyes appeared a trace of difficult to speak of loneliness. Tang San said, then after these 3 kinds even higher ranked token tiles, precisely respectively have more kinds of spirit symbols. Grandmaster nodded, saying, precisely like that. These 6 kinds of spirit marks, respectively represent 6 formidable spirit masters, and also represent 6 formidable clans. Among these 3 are in our Heaven Do Empire, the other 3 are in Star Luo Empire. Part 4. While speaking, Grandmaster had already brought Tang San to arrive at the spirit hunting forest entrance. The captain responsible for inspecting warrants gave the token tiles 3 signs one glance. On his face immediately appeared a respectful look, and he hurriedly ordered the soldiers to move aside and open up the way, inviting Grandmaster to bring Tang San inside. Without even asking why Tang San, this small child, also must enter spirit hunting forest. Crossing the steel fence to enter within the forest, all the clamor seemed to already have disappeared, and the atmosphere finally became as fresh as in Tang San's imagination, giving people's mind a feeling of being free from worry. After entering the forest, Grandmaster was without any impatience to advance, and rather quietly observed their surroundings. Tang San seemed to suddenly recall something. Teacher, just now those 6 people you talked about receiving Spirit Hall respect, being carved on token, what is their title? Spirit Saint. Douluo. Is it titled Douluo? Grandmaster gave Tang San a keen look. It's titled Douluo. And also the 6 most formidable titled Douluo. Most formidable. In Tang San's eyes was a trace of excitement. Grandmaster sighed. Equal rank, but different spirit ring and different spirit, so the actual power is completely different. These 6 titled Douluo undoubtedly are the most powerful of powerful. Even though there are other spirit masters that have cultivated over the 90th rank and entered the realm of titled Douluo, those are still unable to shake their position. But right now these are too far away from you. Okay, we will prepare to enter the forest. Starting from now, you must not deviate more than 1 step from my side. Yes, teacher. The originally dispirited expression in Grandmaster's eyes abruptly cleared, both hands held close to the chest, again quickly separated below. Come out, Luo San Pao. With a puffing sound, a faint purple thread of spirit power separated from Grandmaster's both palms. Tang San only felt Grandmaster release a burst of fluctuating spirit power from his whole body, and before him already appeared a creature. Unmistakably, this creature, it would seem, had an appearance much like a dog, but its bulk was more like a hog. More than 1.50 meters in height, and its waist measurement should be something similar. Its entire body had pale purple fur, 2 small drooping ears, a pair of deep blue big blinking eyes, and the expression in its eyes very gentle. As the fat body swayed once, the fatty buttocks immediately swayed side to side. 4 stocky little legs made it hard to imagine just how slow it moved. On top of its head was a bulging, spherical, unknown something. As it appeared, running over towards Grandmaster, and using that head to rub against Grandmaster's leg. Under Grandmaster's feet 2 rings of light rose up, moving back and forth over him. Both rings of light appeared yellow, obviously 100-year spirit rings. Little San, did you not want to know what my spirit was? This is my spirit, you can call it Luo San Pao, or just call him San Pao. Luo San Pao, as if understanding Grandmaster's words, looked at Tang San with its pair of big eyes. The expression in its eyes unexpectedly had a somewhat affectionate look. Grandmaster, this is your spirit. Tang San, shocked, said. But, don't animal spirits manifest attached to the body? Why does it? Before speaking about what kind of creature Luo San Pao was, Grandmaster's spirit obviously went beyond the limits on the spirit beast category. Luo San Pao, obviously somewhat dissatisfied, made 2 luoluo calls towards Tang San. In Grandmaster's expression appeared a trace of bitterness, because, my spirit is a variant spirit. Remember what you and I spoke about spirit variation, San Pao is just that. Only, its variation clearly is in a bad direction. When it only just awakened, my spirit power level was only a half rank. Otherwise, how could things be as they are? Even if I again made the effort, breaking through 30th rank spirit power is impossible in this lifetime, so in the end I can only study spirits in theory. Before, when Tang San heard those rumors about Grandmaster, he knew that Grandmaster was a persistent person. Regarding spirits he was as persistent as he himself was regarding hidden weapons. This was also why Tang San had never regretted acknowledging Grandmaster as his master. Perhaps, this was talent appreciating each other. I'm sorry, Grandmaster, for raising your old painful memories. Grandmaster laughed at himself and shook his head. It's nothing, I became inured long ago. Come, I'll introduce you to San Pao. The reason for its name is because it calls out a luoluo sound, and its attack can only be launched 3 times. Therefore it's called San Pao. San Pao, first open up a path ahead. Luoluo, fat Luo San Pao looked pleased with itself and walked forward. Although the body was a bit fat, when seeing it move it could also be called nimble. Moving from one side to the other, sniffing at something. All over Grandmaster's body spirit power light was glimmering. Bringing Tang San to follow Luo San Pao, they moved along deeper into the forest. San Pao's sense of smell is very acute, capable of discovering tracks of spirit beasts and how strong they are. Although it has become small and weak because of variation, regarding spirit power the consumption is also very small. Therefore I can release it outside for a long time. This is for you. You must make the last attack that kills the spirit beast yourself. Grandmaster fumbled out from the breast a magnificent short sword and handed it to Tang San. The short sword's entire sheath was a transparent blue, and on it were inlaid 7 pieces of blue jade. The sword handle had a chunk of milky white jade, and the sword's length was 1 chi tuotune. Even though with the sheath, holding it in the hand, he still could feel traces of cold qi. Walking not far away, Luo San Pao abruptly came to a stop, the pair of big eyes looking in one direction, mouth emitting 2 luoluo calls. An animal looking a bit like a cat appeared in the direction of its gaze, lying in a tree, guardedly watching Grandmaster and Tang San. Grandmaster coldly smiled, saying, "It's a 10-year multicolored cat. San Pao, don't disturb it. Continue ahead." Grandmaster never forgot to instruct Tang San. While continuing walking, he said, "That multicolored cat just now belongs to the cat family of spirit beasts. Its offensive nature is very powerful, but provided you do not first attack it, it also will not easily start an attack. If a spirit master has a cat family beast spirit, using it for one's first spirit ring is not a bad choice. You must not think of that multicolored cat as that small. If it was a more than 1,000-year multicolored cat, let alone us, even more than 10 times our number could not kill it. Part 5. Tang San called to mind an important question, Grandmaster, how to distinguish the actual strength of a spirit beast? Or the number of years? Grandmaster said, distinguishing a spirit beast's actual strength certainly is not difficult. You look, that solitary bamboo ahead. That also is a type of spirit beast, a plant system spirit beast. It's useful to you. Solitary bamboo is tough, and although its attack nature is not powerful, its defense is not bad. This is a 10-year solitary bamboo. Because its height does not exceed 10 meters. Over 10 meter should be considered over 100 years. Consequently, generally speaking, spirit beasts are distinguished mainly by observing bulk and the color of the spirit power used when they attack. Spirit power color is identical to actual strength. Precisely speaking, 10-year spirit beasts use white spirit power, 100-year use yellow, and so on. Although, when confronting an unknown spirit beast, you best not go look at its spirit power. In a short time you will be unable to endure, and then will be up against devastating danger. Grandmaster, will we be hunting that solitary bamboo? The solitary bamboo certainly did not seem to attract attention, only because all around it were large trees and not more bamboo. It easily could be conspicuous. Its body softly swaying, the top of the bamboo moving rhythmically with the wind. Grandmaster said, for the moment we will not. If we are without a more suitable choice, and only last if forced to. Choosing spirit ring must be done carefully. Each spirit ring cannot be replaced. Spirit scholars promoting to spirit master can absorb 100-year spirit beast spirit rings. To be even more precise, they can use a less than 423-year spirit beast spirit ring. I've carefully studied very many spirit masters undergoing growth and failure. 423 years should be the limit of what one can endure for the first spirit ring. Therefore, I hope that your first spirit ring will be as close to that limit as possible. Grandmaster regarding spirit research was always that precise. Tang San felt, having this teacher exist, absolutely was a kind of happiness. Similarly for 100-year spirit rings, although the color of the spirit rings emerging from a 100-year spirit beast and 900-year spirit beast are the same, the gap between the amplification of the added attribute is enormous. Seeking a spirit ring as high as possible under the prerequisite safety limit is required for every outstanding spirit master. Continuing moving forward, Grandmaster was giving Tang San a lively field class, relying on Spirit Luo San Power's acute sense of smell, to one by one draw out spirit beasts concealed in dark places. Perhaps because for the most part these spirit beasts were 10-year grade, their attack desire was not strong. Grandmaster gave Tang San introductions to these spirit beasts' names, specific properties and method of distinguishing cultivation age. Looking up at the color of the sky, Grandmaster said, "It looks like today we must spend the night in spirit hunting forest. We will first look for a place to camp." Having searched for half the day, although no few spirit beasts conforming to the requirements had appeared, Grandmaster had not been anxious to get involved, and very patiently continued looking. The place Grandmaster chose to camp at was a depression, surrounded by complex terrain and encircled by numerous towering trees. Grandmaster took out a big glass bottle from a loop-shaped spirit tool on his wrist and passed it to Tang San. "Sprinkle it around, remember, you must sprinkle it evenly." "Okay." Tang San took the bottle. The bottle held some powdered type of drug, stinging the nose somewhat, and Tang San's nose wrinkled, already making it out. This was similar to his old world's realga-type drug. Tang Sect was famous for hidden weapons and poison, and although he was an Outer Sect disciple, regarding distinguishing poisonous substances he had considerable skill. Earlier in the middle of the process of looking for spirit beasts, within spirit hunting forest, he had found no few poisonous plants he could distinguish, putting them within 24 moonlit bridges. Grandmaster's knowledge could not be doubted on the spirit side, but regarding distinguishing these spirit power less poisonous plants, he by far could not compare to Tang San with 2 lifetimes of experience. Particularly among these poisonous plants were very many that required each other to be able to issue poisonousness. Having scattered the powder, Tang San handed back the bottle to Grandmaster. "Do you know why I let you sprinkle these around the periphery?" Grandmaster's facial expression was very serious. Right now he was a teacher testing his student. Since he could distinguish what the powder was, how could Tang San not be expected to know Grandmaster's purpose? And without hesitation he said, "It should have 2 effects, one is to conceal our scent, and the other is to repel snakes, insects, rats, ants and such types of creatures." Grandmaster nodded contentedly. "Correct, precisely like that. This is called snake-repelling powder, essential to adventures. Remember, in forests, especially within forests with spirit beasts, you must as much as possible not use fire. Even though the vast majority of wild animals and spirit beasts all will fear firelight, there are also several especially formidable spirit beasts that like fire. In case that you meet them, unless your own cultivation has become sufficiently formidable, you will undoubtedly die." The color of the sky gradually dimmed. Within the forest certainly was not peaceful and quiet. Insects and birds called. Roars of wild animals rose and fell one after another. Without lighting a fire, around them was completely pitch dark. Tang San and Grandmaster ate a simple evening meal. Both master and apprentice rested leaning against a big tree. Grandmaster was definitely a qualified teacher, and he paid a lot of attention to Tang San. Even though right now they already should rest, Grandmaster was still again quizzing Tang San's understanding of spirit beasts from the daytime, in order to give him a deeper impression. Tang San's memory was considered not bad. In addition, this was the first time he had come into contact with creatures like spirit beasts. The novel feeling deepened his memory, and when his answers occasionally had faults, they were one by one corrected by Grandmaster. "Little San, do you know why I say that for spirit masters youth is the most important time?" Grandmaster's deep and hoarse voice brought a somewhat sentimental feeling. Tang San shook his head, waiting for Grandmaster's explanation. Douluo Dalu Volume 2, Chapter 9, Blue-Silver Grass First Spirit Ring. Part 1. Spirit Master's cultivation, before 20 years of age, is an extremely important process. One can say that achievements up to 20 years of age decides future success. 30th rank is the Fire and Ice Jewel Heaven threshold. If crossing this threshold before 20 years old, then future prospects are limitless. If unable to cross over in 20 years, then, also forever unable to leap beyond. Youth has the advantage, youth can have the potential. Therefore, you right now cannot delay 1 minute. Teacher can still help with your first and second spirit ring, but when you require the third spirit ring, teacher will probably be unable to do enough. At that time you have to rely on you yourself. Spirit strength cultivation has no shortcuts. You can only rely on meditation to make spirit power to increase. Although you have the innate full spirit power advantage, you even more cannot slack off, otherwise, you do not deserve to become my disciple. Luoluo. At that time, variant spirit Luo San Pao's call abruptly rose. Spirits were one with their host, so Grandmaster at once started, his body shooting up, looking in that direction. At this moment, the color of the sky was already completely black. Faintly within, 10 or more moss green points of light were approaching in their direction. "It's hell wolves." Grandmaster's voice was somewhat muffled, but without a bit of alarm. "Little San, don't move from here." Luo San Pao's mouth unceasingly made Luoluo calls, seemingly menacing those existences that gradually drew closer. Grandmaster certainly did not see. In the eyes of Tang San by his side flashed a layer of purple, the things in the darkness becoming clear to his eyes. All in all 6 wolf-type spirit beasts, the height of their bodies all at 1.6 m or so. The whole body appeared iron gray, and that moss-green radiance was precisely their eyes. At this moment slowly closing in straight on Luo San Pao. Luo San Pao's smell seemed to make them somewhat restless, and while approaching, they kept a half-circle formation. Grandmaster snorted frostily. "1 pack of 10th-ranked little wolves dare come harass me." San Pao. Luo San Pao made a low howl, an inhaling noise just like the scream of a hurricane, and that originally fat belly expanded with amazing speed, looking like it was a big gradually enlarging ball. Grandmaster raised his hand and waved it, and from his body a yellow ring of light flew out, encircling Luo San Pao's body, as he solemnly shouted, "Break wind like striking thunder, rumble the heavens and split the earth, Luo San Pao." Luo San Pao's pair of clear blue eyes suddenly shone. The yellow ring of light centered on its body suddenly seemed to become a screen of light. The rounded body abruptly shot up, astonishingly climbing upward to a height of 5 meters. The figure overhead turned around, and a deafening sound like the rumble of thunder erupted in a moment. Grandmaster's hands had at some unknown moment already produced 2 gauze masks, first handing one to Tang San, and subsequently put the other on his face. Tang San subconsciously brought up the gauze mask, eyes unblinkingly fixed on Luo San Pao's actions. Following that one thunderous sound, he only saw a yellow light cover suddenly release. As powerful as a thunderbolt, the 6 10-year hell wolves were all completely covered within. The 6 hell wolves' bodies, under Luo San Pao's attack, were flung up like broken burlap sacks, immediately plunging down more than 10 meters away, with 2 hell wolves' waists smashing against tree trunks, howling pitifully, but unable to rise. The several other wolves on the ground rolled about briefly. Tang San relied on purple demon eye to clearly see. From those hell wolves' mouths fresh blood was flowing. He could see how powerful the shockwave had been. Following a short period of woo-woo sounds, other than the 2 hell wolves on the ground unable to rise, the several others had quickly run away. Grandmaster at this time still did not neglect to instruct Tang San. Wolves' and dogs' bodies are very alike in structure, called copper head, iron bones, bean-curd waist. The waist is their body's weakest vital part. While speaking, Grandmaster stepped forward with big steps. At some point he had drawn a short knife, cutting the necks of the 2 unmoving hell wolves, spreading more realga on the bodies, covering the smell of blood. "Look, spirit rings are about to appear." At Grandmaster's warning, Tang San started taking note. Following the death of the 2 10-year hell wolves, from the body gradually rose a ring of faint white light, the rings rippling like mist in the emptiness overhead, as if they could drift away at any time. "This is a spirit ring. These were killed by me. So if my spirit power had just achieved the advancement requirements, right now I could absorb these spirit rings to attain the advancement objective. The specific method is to use my spirit power to draw the spirit ring to my body, and immediately after that begin meditation, absorbing the energy of the spirit ring." Faint purple light rose from Grandmaster's hand, beckoning towards one of the spirit rings that emerged from the hell wolves. That spirit ring already floated over, circling about Grandmaster's body. But it did not permeate. "My current spirit power is not sufficiently advanced. Therefore, the spirit ring can't be absorbed by me. Within 2 hours, it will disperse on its own. Little San, hand me 2 white radishes." "Oh." Tang San fumbled at his waist, drawing out 2 white radishes from 24 moonlit bridges and handing them to Grandmaster. Grandmaster offhandedly tossed them towards Luo San Pao, who, following a burst of excited luoluo sounds, gulped down the 2 radishes with lightning speed. Variant spirits' characteristics already cannot be understood like ordinary spirit theory. San Pao can rely on eating food to reduce my spirit power consumption. But for its only 3 attacks, every time one attack is used it must immediately replenish. "Does San Pao only eat white radish?" Tang San asked. Grandmaster gave him a pained look, saying, "You saw, San Pao attacks by farting. If not for bringing up gauze masks, perhaps right now you already could not endure the smell. Spirit beasts similarly cannot stand it, therefore those hell wolves fled quickly." White radish. With regard to hastening flatulence, there are few foods that can compare. With 2 to replenish, in approximately half the time, San Pao can recover what is spent in 1 attack. Part 2. This also worked. Tang San wanted to laugh a bit, but seeing in Grandmaster's eyes a trace of bitterness, he did not dare let laughter escape. He could imagine how possessing this kind of spirit that attacked by farting, among spirit masters, was a very embarrassing matter. With Grandmaster's proud temperament, how could his heart feel comfortable? Luoluo, Luoluo, Luoluo. As in a moment hurried calls abruptly rose, the bitterness in Grandmaster's eyes was immediately replaced by a cold light, and he pulled at Tang San's hand. All around suddenly grew quiet, and a slight rustling sound clearly reached Tang San's ears, vaguely. The air seemingly became somewhat stinking. The stink was not at all strong, even with a touch of sweetness and tea fragrance. Tang San's nose wiggled, subconsciously blurting out, "There's poison." Grandmaster's right hand waved. This time, the two rings of light on his body completely moved over to encase Luo San Pao, vigilantly looking in the direction of the rustling sound. Tonight is unexpectedly this unquiet. The rustling sound came to an end. Tang San pushed his mysterious heaven skill, working his purple demon eye to the limit, looking in that direction. Indistinctly, he seemingly saw a dark green triangular snake head held up in a shrub, a pair of ruby-like little eyes looking straight in their direction. Perhaps fearing the effect of the realga powder, it did not continue to approach. Grandmaster, there. Tang San raised a finger in the direction of the snake head's location. Right now was already too late for Grandmaster to think about why Tang San could see a place his eyes still could not reach. With lightning speed he drew out a flare from the wrist spirit tool and tossed it in that direction. The flare already ignited in the wind, rolling and illuminating the area, and this time Grandmaster also saw the snake head. Mouth inhaling a mouthful of cool air. It's a Datura snake. Why would this kind of ferocious fellow appear on the outskirts of spirit hunting forest? Hope it's a 10-year. CC. As if infuriated by the flare, the snake head slowly rose, issuing CC sounds towards Luo San Pao. But the realga powder deterrent still existed, and it still did not advance. Grandmaster said in a low voice, "Datura snake's venom is extremely potent. It has not only a paralyzing effect, but also causes powerful damage to the body's nerves. It's one of the most terrible among poison attribute spirit beasts. Its body is extremely tough, difficult to hurt with common sabers. Its mouth and eyes are the only weak points. But Datura snakes are very good at consistently protecting these two places. Its speed is also incomparably fast. Most frightening is its aggressive character. Encountering humans, it will practically always launch an attack. Realga powder may not be able to restrain it for long. It's waiting for an opportunity." Tang San did not feel any fear because of Grandmaster's introduction. In his former life at Bashu Tang Sect, Bashu had a large variety of snakes, of course without this type of Datura snake. But Tang San was not short of experience with coming into contact with snakes. From the tip of this snake's head could be seen it was hypervenomous, and by the neck's robust surface it appeared its weakness certainly was not the seventh kun. There was no way of knowing how this kind of snake with spirit power would attack. Grandmaster pulled Tang San behind him. "Little San, right now I will instruct you in a principle. Rings many bones many, power surges. Rings few bones few, take to your heels and escape." Here rings refer to spirit rings, bones refer to spirit bones. Regarding spirit bones I can explain to you later. Just say, when your spirit rings and spirit bones clearly outstrip your opponents, then, you should rely on your spirit ability and spirit power to launch a full-out attack, thoroughly routing the opponent. And when your spirit rings and spirit bones clearly are fewer than the adversary, then, must not hesitate, immediately escape. Self-respect is never equal to life in importance. If this Datura snake is a 10-year spirit beast, then we can still risk our lives in fight once. If it's 100-year, immediately run away. Break wind like striking thunder, rumble the heavens and split the earth. Luo San Pao. Finishing explaining these, Grandmaster immediately gave orders to Luo San Pao, launching the attack. Yellow rings of light again glittered. Luo San Pao's body shot upwards in its insane inhalation. Although he ate the white radishes, since that one attack on the hell wolves the body still had not recovered what was depleted, so right now there was still only strength for 2 attacks. During the thunderclap-like roar, Luo Sanpao's super thunder shockwave surged out. Even though the Datura snake's speed was very fast, Luo Sanpao's attack was ranged. If it wanted to escape, it was unable to. Only seeing an immense snake body fly off from the ground, flung far into the distance. Quickly run. Grandmaster only gave that flying Datura snake a glance without any opinion. The Datura snake's cultivation age was related to the size of its body. Before evolution to 1,000-year spirit beast, for each year of cultivation, the body's length would increase by 1 centimeter. And this salamander by its flying body was definitely beyond 3 meters, even already approaching 4 meters, so to speak. Its cultivation had already exceeded 400 years. Grandmaster could not think that relying on his 29th rank Spirit Master's strength could confront this kind of spirit beast, let alone, when his own spirit also certainly was not regarded as formidable. Gua-gua, mournful sounds were heard. Tang San was pulled to one side by Grandmaster to escape, turning his head to one side to look. Being within that shock wave of Luo Sanpao had surprisingly been unable to injure the Datura snake the slightest. As body just about to hit the ground, it immediately bent in a flash, darting back. Every time its whip-like body came into contact with the ground, it could immediately shoot up like a spring, its speed incomparably fast, continuously approaching in his and Grandmaster's direction. Luo Sanpao's running speed was not a bit slow, following closely behind Grandmaster and Tang San. In the pair of big eyes was already an extremely panicked look. Break wind like mist, mesmerized to deep sleep Luo Sanpao. Grandmaster again let out a big shout, and Luo Sanpao overhead circled once. With a poo sound, a mass of yellow gas spouted from its fat buttocks, spreading out in midair. Of Grandmaster's 2 spirit rings, the 2 different kinds of effect they could add to Luo Sanpao's abilities were Thunder Shock and Mesmerize. Right now they had already been fully employed. Part 3. The Datura snake very quickly leapt over the yellow mist, but it was not at all mesmerized. It being outstandingly talented in poison, its poison resistance by far outdid similar spirit beasts. Right now it had only been slightly slowed. Luo Sanpao's triple cannon, all expended, its body had distinctly shrunk by a lot, and to right now feed it radishes to replenish again would come too late. The 2 spirit rings again returned to Grandmaster's body. All over his body spirit power light was visible, speed elevating to the limit, one hand pulling Tang San, leaping ahead at full speed like a shooting star, hoping to be able to get clear of the pursuing Datura snake. Grandmaster was very clear on the Datura snake's characteristics. This kind of savage and cruel spirit beast had one weakness, which was patience. If unable to shortly chase down its target prey, it could very easily give up. But the Datura snake they encountered today was particularly persistent. Whether infuriated because of Luo Sanpao's wind and the realga powder, with unflagging persistence it chased after Grandmaster and Tang San, its speed matchless. Soon coming closer and closer. Sanpao, block it for a moment. At Grandmaster's command, Luo Sanpao's chubby body stood facing the onrushing Datura snake, attempting to use the body to obstruct its advance. But this Datura snake was not only incomparably fast, its reaction was also extremely sharp, body in a flash coiling open and striking Luo Sanpao, simultaneously biting it. Luo Sanpao gave a blood-curdling shriek, body falling to the ground. Grandmaster gave a wave with both hands, and Luo Sanpao's body immediately melted into purple light, again merging into him. Grandmaster in his heart right now already was somewhat grieved, his past life continuously reverberating in his mind. He wanted to ask heaven, why should he have such bad luck in this life? Why this outcome, even so far as to involve Tang San, this child? As Grandmaster was already close to despair, even to the extent that he felt the chill of the Datura snake's venom fangs, suddenly, he discovered his pulling Tang San changed. Turning his head to look, he saw Tang San's left hand feeling at 24 moonlit bridges on his waist, immediately throwing something behind without turning his head. One sturdy white radish swiftly flew out, and with a poo sound, unexpectedly just right to strike the Datura snake's body, causing that originally already well within reach to launch an attack spirit beast abruptly slow down, again pulling open the distance somewhat. Distinguishing location by sound was nothing more than a superficial Tang Sect ability. Tang San naturally knew it, but the next action caused Grandmaster's heart to fill with shock. Only seeing Tang San's left hand continuously flicking between his waist and afterward throwing behind, continuously shooting out one white radish after another. Although the strength was insufficient to hurt the Datura snake, when the Datura snake was about to overtake them, the sum could obstruct its body. Such accurate skill, Grandmaster realized, every time Tang San threw out a white radish, the left hand's thumb always curved inside, palm facing down, and the additional 4 fingers together stretching out. The motion was concise and effective. And on Tang San's little face, although also a little alarmed, seemingly was no fear. If it was in Tang San's former life, every person of Jianghu could have called the name of such a skill, as certainly Tang Sect hidden weapons elementary grade skill, arrow hand throw. Utilizing inertia of a lashing arm to send out hidden weapons. This kind of skill was most direct, although can't be said to be elegant. Right now it was extremely effective. Although 20 jin of white radishes was not a little, Tang San's arrow hand throwing rate was not slow, and in a little while the stock in 24 Moonlit bridges was already exhausted. Right now they had already reached the crucial moment of life or death. Tang San very clearly, like this perfectly understood, seemed like strength, speed, poisonousness, excellent spirit beast tangling up had what consequence. Right now is already not the time to hide his true strength. He let go of Grandmaster's hand, his body overhead in a wink, left hand rising, a black tip already noiselessly emitting power. The sleeve dart he had worked hard to forge finally was used. Tang San's both eyes by then had become completely purple. Relying on purple demon eyes effect, he was able to clearly see the Datura snake's every motion. The Datura snake's reaction was even faster than Tang San had imagined. That one sleeve dart shot in the direction of the Datura snake's left eye, but he saw that leaping body twist once in midair with lightning speed. The snake head dropped, unexpectedly avoiding danger. But the sleeve dart's speed truly was too fast, and still shot at its body. With a clear dang sound, on the salamander's hard serpent scales a succession of sparks spattered up. Acute pain making it once again emit a queer gua cry. Tang San in his heart secretly cried out in disappointment, since sleeve darts relied on using mechanism to send out, speed and strength were both no problem. But that is not sufficiently ingenious. It could only bluntly attack the opponent. This was also a common fault of mechanism-type hidden weapons. However, the Datura snake's defense made him taken aback. One must know that although his sleeve dart only had 3 darts, they were all forged of iron mother. The mechanism shooting force was also extremely powerful. Still, he could not truly injure the eye of this spirit beast. The Datura snake was thoroughly enraged, and the scales on its body began to shine. The deep green scales were covered in a layer of faint yellow light, its speed suddenly increasing. In practically only a split second it had already pounced in front of Tang San. When Tang San unexpectedly let go, Grandmaster already moved more than 10 meters by inertia. This all happened in a split second. Right now again wanting to rescue Tang San is already too late. In the crucial moment, Tang San's heart instead became extremely calm. Mysterious heaven skill working in his whole body, this kind of genuine Taoist internal skill right now caused him to enter a state where his heart was like still water. Watching the Datura snake's widely stretched open snake mouth, without being the slightest amount flustered. His right hand turning over, the short sword Grandmaster gave him already turning in the palm of his hand. Part 4. The Datura snake regardless of speed still had power, but neither could match the current Tang San. Watching the snake head rushing up, Tang San used ghost perplexing shadow track, and his body in a flash already moved sideways 3 chi away. Tang San knew that to him there would be only one chance. If he could not succeed, then the Datura snake would absolutely not be taken in again. Deciding quickly in the crucial moment, Tang San moved both hands above, practically completely filled by his mysterious heaven skill effect. In his palm blue light glimmered, the left hand drawing in then sending out. His body under the effect of ghost shadow perplexing walk once again changed position. The Datura snake only felt an attractive force from the side of its head, and the snake's head turned uncontrolled ly. Right now, because of pouncing at Tang San, the snake mouth was stretched wide, just about to close. A vast blue radiance seemingly appeared as if out of nowhere, quietly waiting there, in the split second as the Datura snake's head turned over, in the instant before its mouth closed. Pooh! The nearly 4-meter-long snake body stiffened in practically a split second. That one Chi-Tu Kun sword was already completely driven into the snake's mouth. After a moment, the Datura snake's body violently stirred, and at once on the ground sand flew about and stones hurtled through the air, where its hard body swept across, regardless of shrubs or small trees. All were tested as if enduring a tornado, branches and leaves broken. Stabbing with full strength behind that sword, Tang San, using ghost shadow perplexing track, had already retreated at full speed, just far enough to avoid the Datura snake's lashing tail. What is called a centipede dies, but never falls down. Regarding the snake's characteristics, Tang San in no way would think the Datura snake would die immediately. Little San, Grandmaster in a haste calling out suddenly roused Tang San. He knew, all he just did, he already could not avoid appearing before Grandmaster. His soul was not part of this world, and all this, clearly could not be known by any person. What's to be done? Kill Grandmaster to silence him. Tang San believed that relying on the attack power and specific characteristics of the sleeve dart, his chance of success was at least 70%, as Luo San Pao right now already had no attack strength. But how could he go through with that? Grandmaster was his teacher. Although they had only known each other for several days, already he had gained Tang San's heartfelt respect. Nothing to be done, he could only lie. Underfoot intentionally staggering, Tang San immediately rolled back on the ground. Grandmaster stretched out his arms and grabbed him. He was after all a 29th ranked spirit Grandmaster, and although his spirit was somewhat poor, he still had spirit power. He supported Tang San with one hand. Little San, what? Teacher, I was scared to death. How that snake chased us. Grandmaster looked at the Datura snake in the process of terrible destruction, rebuking said, just now why did you suddenly let go? Do you not know how dangerous that was? Actually, Grandmaster did not see as much as Tang San imagined. After all, this was in the middle of the night. Grandmaster also did not have his purple demon eye type of eye ability. In the darkness, Grandmaster only faintly saw Tang San's body fall back behind, and that blue short sword's glimmering radiance. As for the ringing of the sleeve dart hitting the salamander's body, Grandmaster took no notice of at all. I also do not know how to explain. With sweaty hand, it suddenly slipped. Teacher, just now in the confusion I wielded the short sword you gave me. Seemingly it dealt a piercing blow to that snake. Pulling up Tang San's hand, in his palm there was indeed cold sweat. Grandmaster also guessed that Tang San hit the Datura snake with a piercing blow, and very likely with a piercing blow to a vital spot. Otherwise, how could this kind of violent and vicious, seeking revenge for a single look spirit beast not suddenly pursue and attack? Don't assume it's over, wait and see. Snake category spirit beast's vitality is extremely tenacious. It does not die so easily. Tang San gulped for breath. This was not intentionally assuming an air, and he already somewhat lost strength. Confronting such a formidable spirit beast as a 100-year Datura snake, just now in a split second he already used his full strength. If that one controlling crane capturing dragon had not pulled over the salamander's head, then the ending would have become completely different. As a result of this time's alarming danger, Tang San already secretly resolved, after going back, he must think of a way to increase his armaments. Before completing mysterious heaven skill, Various kinds of mechanism-type hidden devices clearly was the best choice. That was also Tang San's most outstanding talent. The two master and apprentice like that stood up and very cautiously observed. The Datura snake's hysterically frenzied struggle gradually subsided, body unceasingly twisting, smashing every single plant on the ground, revealing the soil beneath. The short sword Grandmaster gave Tang San, although one chi tuochun was not long, but it was already sufficient to skewer the Datura snake's brain. That was a fatal wound. Watching the Datura snake's struggle grow weaker and weaker, Grandmaster gradually let out his breath, and following this, the expression on his face gradually began to change. The panicked look gradually became wild with joy. Excellent, this truly is excellent. Little San, you're getting your spirit ring. Teacher, what are you saying? You can't be talking about this snake, right? Tang San shocked looked at Grandmaster. Grandmaster nodded seriously. Precisely, it's this. Datura snake's cultivation until it reaches 1,000 years. Every year it lives, its body will grow 1 centimeter. This Datura snake's body already nears 4 meters, which also means he has nearly 400 years cultivation. As it happens, approaching the limit for absorbing the first spirit ring when going from spirit scholar to spirit master. With your innate full spirit power, absorbing its spirit ring will be no problem. But, teacher, my spirit is a plant. This Datura snake is an animal-type spirit beast. Can I use its spirit ring? Will it not cause a conflict? Tang San said uncertainly. Part 5. By now Grandmaster had already relaxed. In his eyes was an extremely confident radiance. One of the 10 core spirit world concepts of my research is the spirit mimicry principle. Plant spirits does not necessarily have to absorb a plant spirit beast spirit ring, and beast spirits are not necessarily unable to absorb plant spirit rings. Under a variety of preconditions, these both can mutually absorb. Because it is excessively small and weak, whatever spirit ring property is added will not cause rejection, and only passively assimilate. Therefore, absorbing this Datura snake's spirit ring is no problem. At the same time, still remember what type of spirit ring we wanted to look for. Tang San's eyes brightened, adding a toughness effect. Best was having poison. Certainly, the Datura snake possessed these 2 attributes. Grandmaster gave his disciple a keen look, saying, whether common spirit masters or not, they still are spirit hall fellows. Regarding my 10 great core concepts, they were all laughing through the nose and nobody believed. Previously also no spirit master consented to absorbing different kinds of spirit rings to strengthen themselves. Little San, are you willing to give it a try? Even though for the theory up to here I have absolute certainty, this has never been tried by people. Actual practice is the sole criterion for judging truth. The 10 great core spirit concepts I put forward can only be theory and not truth, precisely because no people are willing to put it in practice. In Grandmaster's eyes, Tang San saw fanaticism. Because of spirit variation, Grandmaster all his life was unable to become a formidable spirit master, but he was still this persistent, throwing his life's energy into spirit research. Regarding this kind of person, the respect growing from Tang San's heart, respect for Grandmaster's person, also meant respecting the results of his research. Teacher, please let me help you put this into practice. I believe your research will not be wrong. The Datura snake's body already gradually grew motionless. A vital part of the head had been penetrated by a sharp sword. Even if its vitality was indomitable, it would still be difficult to escape death. A bit of faint yellow light started to coalesce on the Datura snake's body, different from when Tang San before saw the 10-year Hell Wolf spirit rings. The spirit ring which emerged from the Datura snake was extremely distinct. The radiance also glittered more compared to the Hell Wolf's spirit rings. Even without coming into contact with it, he still could clearly feel contained within it an enormous energy. Hearing Tang San's words, Grandmaster's eyes filled with gratitude. Little San, begin. Tang San nodded, lifting his right hand, resisting the feeling of weakness from lost strength, with his remaining spirit power slowly condensing in his palm. Following the faint blue light mist, blue-silver grass grew from in his palm, emitting a faint smell of life and swaying softly along with the undulations of spirit power. Come, my first spirit ring, you decide whether I am able to practice Tang Sect's secret law, and also decide whether I can inherit teacher's hope. Under the attraction of that faint blue radiance, the 100-year Datura snake spirit ring slowly flew towards Tang San. Grandmaster's both eyes stared fixedly at the floating spirit ring, and in a low voice declared, "Cross your legs and sit up straight, focus your mind on the spirit." Tang San complied with the words and sat down cross-legged, concentrating on his right-hand spirit. Right then, following the approach of the 100-year Datura snake spirit ring, he felt a kind of unprecedentedly powerful pressure. Even his very skeleton under this kind of pressure emitted small noises. Very quickly, the ring of yellow light reached the top of Tang San's head, and without giving him any chance to react, that yellow halo abruptly contracted, becoming only bracelet-sized, incomparably condensing into a solid gold ring that immediately dropped to encircle the blue-silver grass spirit on the palm of his right hand. Tang San felt as if his right hand was invaded by magma, a roasting hot energy frenziedly rushing in. In a flash the violent hot current had rushed inside his body, and instantly within, the organs were like burning. His body couldn't help a burst of violent shaking. Regardless of how the spirit ring's energy lashes your body, keep in mind you must absolutely maintain consciousness. Only then in the future can you even better utilize the spirit ring's energy. These were the last words Tang San heard Grandmaster speak. After a second, closing both eyes, his consciousness already completely immersed within that boiling hot ocean. The mysterious heaven skill internal strength seemingly also ignited from that suddenly arising energy, the hot current in a flash spreading through every part of his whole body. Tang San felt like only spreading his mouth would make it spout fire. Truly potent energy. The surging inside spirit ring power in an instant severely tested Tang San's body, but made Tang San somewhat surprised. Such burning hot energy, without destroying the blue-silver grass spirit. Within his consciousness abruptly revealed, Tang San as if seeing himself immersed within a sea of flame, and in the center of this flame, a solitary blade of blue-silver grass gently swayed with the flame. Regardless of how hot that flame burned, it was still unable to destroy it. Tang San rejoiced in his heart. This seemingly was the visual state of internal strength. In his previous life, because he was already too old when he cultivated mysterious heaven treasure record, he never experienced this kind of state, and did not expect it to actually appear when absorbing the first spirit ring. Under the dry heat of the flame, a change began to occur in blue-silver grass. The originally tenuous grass stalk became longer, became wider, the pale blue color also gradually began to deepen. The deep blue grass stalk within the ocean of flame started to extend, spiritedly moving about swaying, as if it was countless snakes leaping within the flame. The pale blue grass blade began to become deep blue. On the surface it also had a few black lines exactly like on the body of the Datura snake before. Hong, all the hot current surged out. Tang San felt as if that blazing breath dissolved into his body.